Thank you very much, Dr. Kiari. The numbers are important, and it is true, it is daunting. And telling somebody to come back after that and they can't even afford it. The obvious question is, why should I bother? So thank you so much for sharing, shedding a little bit of light. And also just to highlight how important the work that the African Cancer Foundation is doing is, just to put it in perspective. So thank you for that. This journey isn't walked without partners, and so we have two in the room, and we want to invite them now to address us briefly. And the first is the AAR Insurance. So I want to invite Sheila Owiti to come up and speak with us very briefly. She's a group head of brand and marketing and communications. Can you appreciate Sheila Owiti when she comes up? I'm a fan of the applause keeping on until the person gets here. Thank you. Let me adjust this because you're not my height. If I'm holding it, I remove it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. It's a profound honor for us as AAR Insurance to stand before you this afternoon to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the Africa Cancer Foundation. To His Excellency Honorable Professor Anyang' Nyong'o and Her Excellency Mrs. Dorothy Nyong'o, the ACF board and the ACF team, thank you not only for the 15 years of consistently showing up and standing in the gap for those who needed you most, but also for giving us as AAR Insurance the opportunity to stand with you in this important mission. 15 years ago, the Africa Cancer Foundation made a quiet but courageous promise that no Kenyan should ever have to face cancer alone, in silence, or too late. 15 years on, that promise has become a source of hope for thousands of individuals and families. It has changed stories, saved lives, and reminded us that even in life's darkest moments, compassion can be the light that guides us forward. A cancer diagnosis has the power to change everything in an instant. Choosing to go for screening, having an honest conversation with a doctor, and seeking early detection are all meaningful steps. At AAR Insurance, we offer support during these moments. While we cannot remove every difficulty, we can, however, help ease some of the pressure that comes with healthcare and provide a measure of reassurance along the way. As we mark this great milestone, we are reminded that progress is built through collective effort, through partnership, through awareness, and a continued commitment to early detection and care. Together we can ensure that more people feel supported, informed, and empowered to take charge of their health. To the ACF team, happy 15th anniversary. To everyone in the room, may we leave here not just celebrating a milestone, but recommitting to the work that still lays ahead. Here's to the next chapter. Let us write it with hope. Let us write it with courage. Let us write it together. And before I leave, my dad actually passed away from throat cancer. It's very triggering, and it's really a while back, like about 20 years ago. So this is really personal. Yeah, so this one really sinks in. So before I leave, I'd like to thank ACF for something deeply meaningful. Thank you for honoring those who are no longer with us, for remembering those warriors whose stories did not end the way we hoped, but whose lives continue to inspire us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. We are many who are in that category, so thank you for sharing that. Our next partner is the Aga Khan University Hospital, and today is represented by Dr. Alan Zhao. He's an assistant professor, consultant anatomic and molecular pathologist at the Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine, has a number of qualifications and areas of interest which include molecular oncology, bioinformatics, artificial intelligence, that one I cannot say, you will say it, hepatopathology, and inherited disorders. Please put your hands together for one Alan Brown.
Your Excellency, Professor Adam Nyong'o and Mama Dorothy Nyong'o, all the board members of the African Cancer Foundation, friends, colleagues, thank you very much for what you're doing today, and thank you for having me today. I was asked to give a little health talk on the updates in advanced cancer testing. I noticed that in the program we're going to have testimonies, and so I'm going to start with a little story. But before then, I said I'm a pathologist, but just to clarify, I am not the government pathologist. I spent most of my time in a laboratory making cancer diagnosis and diagnosis of many other types of diseases. And so to start that off is a story. 60-year-old lady comes with back pain. Serious back pain, debilitating. We investigate, there is a mass there. We do that PET scan, you can see that big black dot in the middle of the chest, that's a tumor, and a smaller one in the lung. So the lung cancer has actually metastasized. This is stage 4 cancer at diagnosis. Stage 4 cancer. By the way, this is 70% of all our cancer cases. We investigate. We do not only do the basic investigations, we do molecular testing, as Dr. Gladwell Carey mentioned. We identify the driver. The driver is the accelerator. This is what is driving the growth of this tumor. We identify it, we get the drug, we give the drug, and within less than a year, as you see in the last panel, that cancer has melted away. This is not tomorrow. This is not in the US. This is happening in Kenya. I think Dr. Gladwell Carey read my mind. Next slide. Because if you look at the journey of a cancer patient, this is how it looks like. You present with symptoms to your general physician. They start investigating, of course. By the time you are referred to a specialist review, you've undergone probably several lines of treatment, including tuberculosis and many other things. We start investigating, a biopsy is ordered, a CT scan is ordered. Then we order the molecular test, then we decide on what treatment to give you. Dr. Gladwell Carey said, all this is very expensive, but the other issue is that it's a lot of time. Each of these steps could be 2 weeks, it could be 1 month, it could be 2 months. Let's assume you are even in stage 1. By the time you get down there, it's already stage 3 and 4. So we thought we could do something about this. Strategic interventions. And by localizing the care, the testing, and the investigations, we are actually able to cut down on the time that it takes for us to start therapy. And this is what makes a difference. Next slide. And so we localize that treatment, and we are able to save lives, we improve quality of life. Genetic testing. So this is one of the advancements, genetic testing and molecular testing. We've seen patients with breast cancer, for example, prostate cancer, ovary cancer, and this list is not exhaustive. We've seen very young patients with cancer. How many here have seen a patient, a friend, or a relative with cancer and they thought they were too young to have cancer? Almost all of us. But what have we done about that? multiple cancer types, male patients with breast cancer. Genetic testing and molecular testing helps us to investigate these groups of patients. It helps us to inform what kind of treatment we are going to give them. We do not give blanket treatment to all patients. We identify out of these 100, these 15 are better responsive to this kind of therapy. These are the 20, these other therapy. And this is what we call precision medicine. Genetic testing helps us to cascade testing to relatives. That means that if we do identify a cancer type that is hereditary, we're able to tell the relatives, hey, you can also be tested. You can take action. We've all read the story of Angelina Jolie, who actually had a molecular testing, identified that she had a cancer predisposition gene called BRCA, and she was able to take action. Cancer-reducing surgeries, preventative surgeries. In addition, genetic testing helps us to upscale our screening of cancer so that we're able to identify these precancerous lesions quite early. And the technologies are diverse and they're available from PCR, and now we're using next generation sequencing to really upscale the testing and care of patients. Next slide. This is an end-to-end solution, and I wanted to use the example of colon cancer. By the way, now there is a disease we are calling colon cancer of the young. 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds with cancer of the colon. End-to-end solution. So using genetic testing, we are able to identify driver genes such as KRAS, BRAF, NRAS, which help us to really tailor-make the treatment for these patients. Dr. Gladwell Carey talked about immunotherapy and targeted therapies. All these can be done here in Kenya. But I wanted to focus on the screening as well. I am a doctor and I really fear needles. I fear them. But I'm willing to bet there is one thing all of us here fear. The one on the right, colonoscopy. We really fear it. But today, if you really fear it, another type of screening assay, which is your cord blood or FIT test, fecal immunochemical test. It's a sensitive assay. We only need a bit of the stool and we're able to test that and screen for the presence or absence of suspicious colon lesions. And then once that is found, I'm sorry, you still have to do the colonoscopy. But the FIT test is cheaper. It's cheaper, it's more affordable, it's available, and it's more acceptable to many people. So one of the screening tests I want all of us here to do, at least if you're above 45, is to do a colon cancer screening test. And so on and so forth. And then we know that cancer patients usually have many side effects. They will have complications. One of them is infectious diseases. In fact, one of the contributors of poor outcomes in cancer is infectious diseases and complications. How do we test that? And that's where molecular testing comes in. It helps us to identify complex infections, treat them so that the patient does well. Creating access and eliminating barriers. So it's not just about testing, it's providing solutions. So Dr. Gladwell Carey talked about the EGFR program, which I usually run. To date, we have actually tested over 600 lung cancer patients for free. 90% of these patients would never have afforded this test, and they would never have access to the very efficacious treatment that is available for these patients. What am I saying? Sometimes testing can be the hurdle. And these are the barriers we are trying to eliminate. Breast cancer, of course, we've heard about estrogen receptor, HER2. And now we have another program for BRCA1 and 2 testing for patients with ovarian cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, pancreatic cancers. And this is all made possible because of partners such as the African Cancer Foundation and other partners in the pharmaceutical industry who are generous to actually fund and provide access for patients. Testing has to be linked to actual treatment. There's no point in testing if we don't treat. Genetic counseling is another thing that is very close to my heart. Why? We often tell people that they have cancer and think they are fine. They are probably not fine. They need social support, emotional support, psychological support. Screening for cervical cancer now, we've been talking about pap smears. We've upscaled that to HPV testing. We've upscaled that to core testing. Core testing is when we do both the pap smear and the HPV testing. What is the rationale? It gives a woman 5 years of confidence in spacing out cervical cancer screening. Very sensitive and specific screening method. Next slide. And so the takeaway messages before I leave the screen is that advanced and quality advanced testing is very important for improving outcomes for cancer patients. It reduces treatment delays, which is a big issue in cancer. It also opens us up to opportunities of targeted therapy, but also clinical trials, and we do need clinical trials in this country. Even in high-income countries, it's probably one of the ways where patients are able to access very expensive therapy. So we need clinical trials happening in these countries, and that has already started happening. Genetic testing expands our treatment options, and it also optimizes screening programs. And with that, thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you very much for the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen. I'm learning how much information there is out here. And he said sorry. I like that he apologized and said sorry, but you still need to do some of those tests. Can you make a commitment to go and do some early screening and early tests? Can we do that? Yes? All right. Friends, we are here to raise some money so that this good work can continue to happen. So I want us to have a look at the pay bill. And I want to thank those of you who've already given your contributions. They've already started coming in, and we want to encourage you to keep doing that. Remember, it's not limited to those of us in this room. This pay bill number can be shared within your networks, within your WhatsApp groups, so that we can try and at least achieve the target that we gave ourselves for today. And the contributions continue to come in. Once again, that's our giving ladder as friends of African Cancer Foundation. Amounts as low as 15 shillings, 150 shillings, 1,500, 15,000 shillings, and 150,000 shillings. I believe that if we all pull together, the target we are aiming for is not unattainable. You'll notice the 1.5 is symbolic because how many years are we celebrating, friends? 15 years, all right? So we've made it easy. You can symbolically join the anniversary campaign. You can support basic program materials that the different health workers can go out and sensitize about. You can also support food for one cancer patient for an entire month. You can have 2 cancer patients supported through making their SHA payments. That's 15,000 shillings. Or you can also be the anniversary champion who sustains the future impact by donating 150,000 and more. I know in the room we have friends from various financial institutions, or Mutual is here, Stanbic is here, we know that the Aga Khan is here, Kenco are also represented, Church of the Latter-day Saints, the First Ladies are here, constantly walking this journey with First Lady Dorothy Nyong'o. We also thank AAR Insurance, Africa Health Business, the Ruai Family Health, Kisumu County, well represented here, and of course, we are at Ole Sereni, so they are part of us
whether they like it or not, all right? So I want to give you all a moment to go deep into your pockets, because cancer is one of those things that doesn't discriminate. It affects so many of us, and as Shalini so eloquently put it, it was always in the other house, in the other family, never here. And the truth of the matter is, we are probably all affected. I too lost my father to cancer. I have a cousin currently undergoing treatment. She just had her 4th round of chemotherapy last week. So this is real, friends. And so the contribution that you're making today, please don't think it is little, do not think it is small. I want to invite you to take a moment as we watch some videos from some of the cancer survivors who have benefited from this program, have been ambassadors and voices for this program that the African Cancer Foundation is doing so passionately. So as these videos play, I want you to see who you are positively impacting by the donations that you are giving. Please pay attention to the screens.
There is hope, and that life can still hold so many wonderful opportunities. In those 15 years, our paths also crossed at the very beginning of the African Cancer Foundation's journey when I was invited to speak during the foundation's launch. I still remember that occasion, and it's truly inspiring to see how far the foundation has come since then. Over the past 15 years, you have continued to raise awareness, offer hope, and advocate for people affected by cancer. The work you do reminds people that no one should have to face cancer feeling alone, and that is something truly worth celebrating. Reaching this milestone is a testament to the resilience and commitment of everyone who has contributed to the mission over the years. Every life touched, every family that's been encouraged, and every conversation started about cancer awareness has made a massive difference. Congratulations on this remarkable achievement. I sincerely wish the African Cancer Foundation continued success and many more years of making a positive impact. May you continue to inspire hope and bring people together in this fight against cancer. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this very special celebration. Happy 15th anniversary, and may God bless you all.
Friends, if you didn't realize that the video right at the beginning with the girl singing, did you watch it? The one who said, "Oh, I believe that I believe." This is the Rose who's just spoken to you. That's who was singing that song to try and spread the message through song.
Kubwa sana sana sana. Mwili kuanzia kubwa sana sana sana. Mwili kuanzia kifuno mpaka chini ilikufa mpaka Mungu kaenda. 2020 bado napigania naye, ikanisinda nguvu, ikanisinda maisha, mpaka madaktari wakaamua nirudishwe nyumbani, nimebaki na siku 60 ili nikufe. Kweli nilipelekwa nyumbani, nilikaa huko miezi 2 hiyo yote, alafu ndio nilikaa bageni kutokea kwa assistant chief ya area yetu huko nyumbani. Yeye alikuja akaniokoa kwa kifo, aliamini nikarudishwa hapa Kisumu. Nilifikia mwaka 2021 ukaanza kupigania hospitali wapi, ndipo wadaktari wa huko district wakaamua kuchukua sample kwangu kupitia kitu inaitwa biopsy. Biopsy ilipelekwa Russia hapa. Hapo akamaliza mwezi mmoja. Baada ya mwezi mmoja matokeo yametokea. Alafu tukachukua tukapeleka district tena. Kukaa huko wakasema vile wameona majibu kutoka kwa lab ni umeonekana niko na kansa, na type of cancer hawajui. Hiyo inaweza patikana tu Russia. Ndio kapewa mimi discharge, nikarudisha kwa nyumba. Nikakaa kwa nyumba 1 month. Alafu ndio nikapata msamaria mwema, kijana mmoja akakuja siku moja asubuhi, nichukua mimi mpaka Asia kupeleka matokeo hiyo kwa oncology department wa cancer. Wakachukua mimi jana kwa sikisikani masi atambue kabulia na prostate cancer, cancer ambayo ndio mara kama imesakula mimi damu mwili yote kwa nyekwisha. Ndio wakajaribu kuambia mimi kwamba mzee, tunajaribu tu, lakini hatujui kama utapona. Ndipo tukaanza kushughulika hiyo mpaka siku walikuwa naanza kupima mimi. Waliona kama nimekwisha shamba, sitaendelea na matibabu kwa maana madawa ambayo wanatumia kwangu ilikuwa na nusu, nilikuwa na isa damu, chakula ilikuwa kuna. Ndipo wakaona waite msichana anaitwa Wairimu. Alikuwa anaita kwa sababu ya upande wa chakula. Bahati nzuri Wairimu aliitika, akakimbia kwangu, akapata mimi mpaka kwa nyumba. Akapata mimi, huyu mtu imekwisha, hawezi hata kusimama. Akasema, mzee, tunajaribu, wewe pia sika moyo. Mimi pia nilisikia maneno yake, nikamfuata. Alikuwa analetea mimi chakula kila wiki, anajaribu mpaka nikapata nguvu, damu imerudi, mwili nimerudi kukua, lakini ameniokoa. Sasa unaona mimi ni mtu ambaye ukipata usijua ni mgonjwa, lakini bado nachukua dawa kidogo, lakini mwili sasa imepona. Kwa hivyo kama kuna mahali Kenya naweza fanya kupigana na hii maneno ya kansa, tafadhali Kenya, kuanzia national government na county government wajiungane mkono wapigane na hii kansa. Nashukuru kampani ambayo ina represent naitwa African Cancer Foundation, yamepea nguvu hiyo mpaka ameokoa watu kama mimi. Tafadhali African Cancer Foundation apewe jukumu, aendelee kuwa na kazi yake ili aokoe wengine.
Thank you so much. Those are just two stories, friends, of people who have survived. So I'm going to continue to ask that PBL number is left on the screen. 806200. The account is your name. Whatever you would have had for lunch, you have eaten here, so you can contribute that. You are only going to eat nuts and high fiber, isn't it? And vegetables. So it was going to be maybe like 5K, one of, isn't it? So please contribute that. Any amount will be received with joy. Since we started this morning, we have reached 437,000 shillings. Can you clap for yourselves? But I feel like 1 million is a nice even number. And that's only 563,000 that's left. And I think we can do that. I think if each table 8, Kisumu County, table 4, First Ladies are here also, or Mutual, I see you. I think we can achieve this 563 for today. But another number that's good, because we like to keep it transparent and to keep it hopeful, is that since this campaign, this drive began about mid-June, I think it was, we've managed to hit 3 million. And so I think we can do more. I think we heard the number that we are aiming for, which is no less than between 15 and 30 million shillings, so that we can do more. The impact is what we are driving for. So I'm going to give you just a few moments as I invite Fiona to read a poem by Haika Mary. She would have loved to be here, but is not feeling well at all. But she felt that she wanted to still be present. She's asked that we read this poem on her behalf. So please lend us your ears as Fiona reads.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go straight and read Haika's testimony. Today we gather here not not just to remember a disease, but to celebrate hope. Hope that comes when knowledge meets action. Hope that Africa Cancer Foundation has carried across counties, clinics, and communities. As we reflect on how ACF has impacted cancer patients and how awareness has reached across nations, allow me to share this poem, Measure. In April 2011, a promise from Nairobi's heart across a hurting land. Africa Cancer Foundation rose to say, early detection can drive cancer away. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. 23 counties heard the call, 27,000 screened, standing tall. Breast, cervix, prostate cancers we now caught in time to set the people free. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. 950 volunteers with courage and grace took screening and knowledge from place to place. They taught our mothers, fathers, and youth that knowing early is the power of truth. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. Employment clinics opened wide their doors, 57 digital lights in cities and shores. 235,000 women came here, 3,000 treated, no more living in fear. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. Beyond Kenya's borders, the message did fly. Scream, don't wait, don't sit and cry. Through partnerships, research, and training so strong, ACF is building where hope belongs. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. For many, the cost was a wall too high, but ACF built bridges, so now biopsies, treatment, follow-up care. Turning late despair into answered prayer, congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. ACF measuring stick for excellence is best, a symbol that quality must pass every test to prevent and guide, so every African can live with pride. Congratulations for this milestone. So today, the lives touched and saved, families strengthened, futures remade. Let Africa rise on awareness in Kenya, for in early detection, there is healing there. Congratulations, ACF, for this milestone. I can stand and say, I can stand and preach, I can stand and testify, I can stand and speak. I can stand and tell that I am a beneficiary of ACF. Long live Africa Cancer Foundation. Congratulations to the founders and the vision bearers, His Excellency the Governor, Professor Nyong'o, and Her Excellency Dorothy Nyong'o. God bless you all. By Haika Mary. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fiona. And please tell Haika Mary, thank you for penning those amazing words down. All right, anybody else managed to do a contribution? We're not going to do it the old Kenyan way where you come up here and you say, sasa huyu ametoa 100,000. No, we're not going to do that. All right, we are at Emara Olesereni. The animals across the park are watching us. We are not going to do that. But I know that you want to contribute, so please, let's be classy about it and feel free to send whatever amount. We're not going to tender your names, we're not going to do that, okay? But go ahead and consult your wallet, consult your family, consult your friends, consult what you can put away before this weekend, and we'll be sure to pray that God continues to replenish where you have spent. We now want to move to a time of hearing from two individuals who are here with us. Dr. Angela Macligeo. Angela, you're here? Please start coming up. And after that, we'll invite Dr. George Odube. Both of them will share what their connection is to Africa Cancer Foundation. And Dr. Angela Macligeo is a consultant physician and medical oncologist. And so she's about to come up and speak with us briefly. Thank you for being here, and we're looking forward to hearing you. Let's appreciate her with a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon. So as we mentioned, my name is Dr. Angela Macligeo, and I'm glad to be here. I want to say thank you to the organizers, to His Excellency, Professor Nyong'o, Her Excellency, Mrs. Dorothy Nyong'o, all all the stakeholders here, Africa Cancer Foundation. Just to briefly say, I'm a physician, I'm also a medical oncologist. Immediately after training for my internal medicine, about 2 years later, my daughter was diagnosed with what we call biophenotypic leukemia. So that was in 2010. I had never really thought of studying oncology, so this was something that sort of catapulted me into this field. It's a bit of a difficult study. So, her name was Alexis. At that time, she was 2 years of age. And she managed to stay with acute myeloid leukemia from 2010 to 2012. The type of leukemia that she was diagnosed with leukemia that she was diagnosed with was called a biophenotypic leukemia. And at the time of diagnosis, we were made aware that it was a high-risk type and that she would require both chemotherapy and a stem cell transplant. So, at the beginning, naivety, we thought that it would be nice to look for the best possible care. And since stem cell transplant was not available in Kenya, we decided to take her to India. As I said, there was also a lot of naivety and idealism at that time. And so in mid-2010, I went to India with her and with one friend who has accompanied me to keep me company. And we started her chemotherapy. And for about 6 months, she had 2 cycles of chemo, which unfortunately did not work. But again, this is something that we were aware of right from the onset, that it was quite possible. So she did not go into remission, as was expected. And so by the end of her doctor, her pediatric hematologist, indicated that she was going to need a stem cell transplant. Anyone who has left the country to go for treatment anywhere, you understand, it can be quite costly. And so that was the space that I was at. Even as a doctor, the costs were crazy. She had an older brother that was not a donor, or her brother was not a good match as a donor for her. And I remember her doctor saying that they had to use cord blood from a New York blood bank. And they found a good match, but that cord blood was like 3.5 million. And then being an allogeneic transplant, the cost for that was about 6 million. Because I had been out of the country for about 6 months, doing this chemo, that was unsuccessful. So, of course, I was in a foreign land, making lots of money, and it became a bit stressful. Everybody, my friends, colleagues, were trying. Dr. Kiadi knows the story quite well with our propaganda. Because we're quite helpful in the initial stages in advising, giving technical support, in raising awareness about the situation. And then, at some point it looked very, very tough. And I remember at one point thinking that, I'll just pray about it. So this was March 2011, So the doctor told me no more chemo, we are looking to do a transplant. So if you're not doing the transplant, you may have to go back home. And so I was praying about it and thinking I'm not going to look at the situation as hopeless, because everything can be done. Nothing is impossible. And then my mom back home was also trying her very best to create networks and meet different people and fundraise. And she linked up with Africa Cancer Foundation, who they know us, so thank you. It was nice to also see Ross Nasimino because I think during the launch, I wasn't around, but I was keeping tabs. So during the launch of Africa Cancer Foundation in mid-2011, those two children, my daughter, she was called Alexis, and Rose, I think were the initial beneficiaries or support by ACF. It was like an answer to a prayer, because for me at that point I had thought that I'd probably be back home and have transplant to the happen. But I know what, like, in addition to Africa Cancer Foundation giving money as Africa Cancer Foundation, they also actually took up her case. They did a lot of mobilization from the public to raise money. They did a lot of advocacy for her. They prayed with us. They updated her Facebook page and her Instagram page. I didn't open those pages. I think SCF did all that. Did a lot of media interviews on our behalf. And so for me, I think SCF took my baby's case as their own. It worked as if it was, their own family member. And the 9.5 million that was needed for transplant, it was raised, and that transplant was done. And when I'm standing here, I see the same spirit of continuing to support cancer patients who need screening, patients who need SHA payments. I think I was just thinking when I was watching this figure that, just last year I called the Remo, and I like how the gentleman survivor talked. So I called the Remo that I had two patients at Jaramogi Hospital that were not able to afford their SHA payments, and so they had missed medication for some time. And the Remo came through, and actually those two patients are continuing their care now because their SHA was paid by ACF from last year to this year. So a lot of the stories, sometimes we are disconnected, but ACF is working quite a lot to support cancer patients. And congratulations on 15 years of doing this. There was a big team that worked with us. I cannot mention you all. I have seen the team members are still here. They're the same people. I just want you to know that you're precious. Your work is making a big difference. I just want to be thankful that you worked the 2 years with us. So despite being 15 years, and celebrating the 15-year anniversary, I think, as Dr. Daniel said, there's a lot in science right now in terms of precision medicine. Screening is molecular, diagnostics are molecular, treatments are molecular. Whenever I think about it, the costs of doing treatments in this personalized way is higher and higher. So a lot more needs to be done in the oncology space. And I think these are the stakeholders that by putting together and putting in a difference. So congratulations again, ACF, for 15 years of working hard. I just say that, in numerical terms, you're still a teenager, So there's a lot of work to do, a lot of growth to do, a lot more legacy to build. And I'm hoping that all of us will rally together to support the way that you have supported Kenyans. Thank you.
That picture you see is of Angela's late daughter, Lexi. Thank you for sharing, for being strong, and for continuing to do work in this space. I think it's such a beautiful way to give back and have her memory live on. Thank you, Dr. Angela. Thank you for those who've contributed. We are now at 517. We're doing well, friends. I knew I was talking to the right people. So please continue to do the work that you do. As I invite our next speaker just to share, this has been the longest serving medical volunteer of the Africa Cancer Foundation, a distinction earned through more than a decade of consistent hands-on commitment. And then between 2014 and 2019, he founded and served as the first president of the Mount Kenya University Medical Students Association, and he built it into a platform that mobilized student volunteers from different universities across Kenya to support ACF's mission in the different counties. And so I want to ask the current medical officer in charge of Prime Care Center, which is a private wing of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, or JUP. Put your hands together for Dr. George Kabelas Odundo. Yes, George? JUP. Karibu sana. Keep the applause going. Thank you for the work that you've done. Tell them to give us some money, okay? So I'll start with that, yeah? Tell them to give us some money.
Good afternoon. To the chairperson of the Cancer Foundation, His Excellency Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, and Her Excellency Madam Dorothy Nyong'o, all the distinguished guests, the fellow volunteers, past and present, partners and friends of ACF. It's always a pleasure to stand before you today. It's quite an honor. Very grateful. I joined ACF when I was still a very young doctor. I joined Africa Cancer Foundation in 2014 as a medical student in my first. As I remember the story very well, it was a very good platform for Mount Kenya University and especially for the Medical Student Association. As the founder and the president of that association, position that I served for a period of 5 years from 2014 to 2019 and only left the position when I was going to my final year. I'm very grateful to ACF because as a leader, it gave the medical students a platform to be active, and to Mount Kenya University Student Association, it gave us what we currently call power. You know, if you don't have the power, you cannot really stay in such a position for a long time. So the students needed to find a platform whereby they would go out and assist patients, assist people in the community. And ACF gave us that platform. I'm still very grateful to ACF because as a young doctor, you know, in the first few years of the medical school, you're still a student. But when you come out here, they don't see you as a student, they see you as a doctor. So ACF gave me the first opportunity to be called a doctor when I was still in first year. Ideally, I wasn't a doctor then. So ACF has done so much for me, and I really appreciate it. Just apart from that, ACF also gave us a platform as medical students to learn and be trained on a couple of things. The first one was mobile auditing, and I'm very grateful to see Rosemary Lina was here. We partnered with them for a very long time, and what mobile auditing did was it gave every single patient the opportunity to be served and to ease in the process of follow-up, because it was a digital platform. It's the Health Management Information System, what we call the HMIS, whereby we worked together with also gave us the opportunity to take a little bit of pictures of the cervix, so that even if we follow up with patients later with the specialist, they will be able to see the pictures, and it was a very good platform for us. The other game changer of Africa Cancer Foundation was the thermocoagulation, which is a modality that really changed the lives of very many people. Just like Dr. Glad would say, it's so much of a process, because cancer is not like malaria where you get the diagnosis, you treat, and then tomorrow it's done. It's a process. So thermocoagulation, when you tell a patient that you receive a lesion and we are transferring you or we are referring you to another facility, a nearby facility, if they don't have the funds, which is basically what happens in most cases, because cancer is really, it drains you resourcefully. You find that the referrals are not done, the patients, when you tell them to go for further care, they're not able to go there. So thermocoagulation was a game changer, because it enabled the CF to have that one-stop shop, just as Dr. Kiari said it. We find the precancerous lesions, we treat it on site, we give the medications, and then since you have the mobile ODT, we are also able to review you after 3 months, after 6 months, and to me that was a game changer for us, for me, and for the medical students in totality. Also want to appreciate the CF as a whole. As I was training at that time, it felt funny, because my friends used to ask me, what are you benefiting from this current organization? I remember my first camp, the way it happened, we got to Nairobi late, because the camp was in Nakuru, and the bus left us, so we had to get it to our pockets and pay for that money. So everybody was like, why are you putting so much effort onto this organization? And for sure, I couldn't get an answer then. But just like the agencies usually say, you just have to stay the rule, which means you have to stay the rule. So as much as it really didn't have any benefits at that time, as much as we really didn't see the picture and the end goal and the end results of Africa Cancer Foundation, we just decided to keep pushing. And I can confidently say that 15 is not just a number. It reflects thousands of mothers, women, and sisters that we've saved from the precancerous treatment, from the diagnostics that we've been doing with Africa Cancer Foundation. And it's also nurtured me as a person. As I was joining Africa Cancer Foundation, I was, I think, maybe 17 years. Even the years that I currently have now, I didn't have them, I was still a very young boy. And it also nurtured my leadership. Because from a young age, you come to a platform where they attend to almost 2,000 people in a single day, and you're the one who is planning every single detail, every single point, and every single journey. So it's a privilege, and through my years of services, through the passion, through the integrity that I learned through Africa Cancer Foundation, led me to be appointed as the coordinator, the head coordinator of Johnny. I currently work as the medical officer in Jaramogi, and Jokiaret Mashinani is a community engagement initiative that, in simple or in layman words, is mean the medical counts. So it's a safe that nurtured me to that point. So when I was given the task, it didn't feel new. It felt like this is what you're called for. This is what is made for you. So I took the job, and currently we've been doing a couple of camps. Then tomorrow we have one in Marapet. So it means that cancer and most of these chronic conditions are quite a pandemic in the western side of Kenya. So I just want to appreciate all that, and also appreciate the board of SCF. We're really grateful, Prof. and Mama County. And as we even have the clinical wheels, I would really appreciate you to partner with Jaramogi, because Jaramogi is the flagship is in its early stages, but in our strategic plan, it's something that we want to plan. As I conclude, it's really just gotten to me that this disease called cancer touches everyone. It might be a brother, it might be your sister, it might be your friend, but it's something that really requires a joint and collaborative measure so as to mitigate it and find a way to sort it out. I also lost my dad 2 years ago. Initially, we didn't know what was happening, but he also succumbed to liver cancer. And one of the things that I realized was early detection is very important because it only took him 2 months.